of the biggest struggles I see in a lot of people who struggle with whether it's an eating disorder or just mental health in general is the inability to separate themselves from their thoughts. First, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I am Long Island's eating disorder specialist. I post on this channel twice a week, all about eating disorders and body image issues and general mental health. So if any of that interests you, please consider clicking the subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, definitely scroll a little further and click on the link for subscribing to my email list. What you'll get there are weekly updates as to what types of content I'll be putting out that week. And I create resources that go along with many of my videos. So if you would like those, that would be also given out at the beginning of the week through the email, so that you can get the most out of the content that I'm putting out for the following week. We have so many thoughts going on through our head throughout the day. Throughout any given day, there are a gazillion thoughts that go through our head. And some of them you may not even recognize that you're having, because there's just such fleeting thoughts, some that will never be stored to any type of memory, short term or long term. And that's important to remember, and that's important to know, because it's something so important to be able to separate the fact that we have thoughts and to separate the thoughts that we actually have from us as a being, from us as a person. We need to recognize that our thoughts is just another experience that we have. It's not something that defines us. So one of the things that I say to my clients is, in a kind of like a joking way, but really truthfully, let's say that there's someone that's really irritating you, and inside your head, you're just thinking how much you just want to throw a pile of books at them. Just like, shut up, stop talking to me, whatever the case might be. That's just an example. A lot of us have thoughts that may pop up like that and are just not necessarily nice. However, does that really define us as a human being? Because that's just a knee-jerk reaction. We would never act on it. And that's important to remember, that there are thoughts that occur that just pops into your head, but it's never something you would actually act on, and you're not trying to hurt anyone, and then you don't actually do anything to hurt another person. Not separating ourselves from our thoughts could really be detrimental in more than one way. As I said before, it could be really hard because we're not separating ourselves, our thoughts, from who we are as people and who we are as an individual person. But also, it could be really distressing when we have thoughts for maybe beliefs that we have around food, beliefs that we have around ourselves, beliefs that we have around our bodies, especially as it pertains to eating disorders. Those are thoughts that are likely to be occurring in your mind and likely to be very, very distressing. So what's really important is to learn how to separate it. And I'm going to talk about a couple tips that could be helpful for you doing that. The way I like to describe it is as the following. That if you were to just kind of be a fly on the wall and see someone else living their life, what would be your narration of what happens? What actually is something that is occurring for them? And you're not necessarily impacted the same way as you would be if you were the person experiencing it, right? So if you see someone, you're a fly on the wall, and you see someone crying, yeah, that might hurt you a little bit, but more than likely it's hurting them a lot more if you have no feelings for that person. So we are in that power position. We can determine how much feelings we have toward a thought. We can determine how much attachment we have toward a thought. So trying to step out of your brain for a moment, I know this is like kind of trippy, but step out of your brain and imagine as though you were observing your thoughts, as though you were a fly, let's say, on your skull, and you were able to observe all the thoughts that are occurring. What would you see? Now, how can you observe these thoughts in an objective way? Meaning you don't assign anything to it. You don't assign any meaning to it. You are just illustrating the thought for exactly what it's worth, which is the facts that are occurring in that thought, or whatever is occurring in that thought. Now, how can you observe that thought furthermore from a gentle and non-judgmental position? And that's going to be really, really difficult. Something that might be helpful for this is to imagine that your friend was telling you this, or a loved one was telling you the thoughts that they have. And you probably are more able to be in a gentle and non-judgmental position when observing the thoughts that they're describing to you. So backtrack and see how you might be able to do that for the thoughts that you experience. Again, I'm not saying that these thoughts are you. These thoughts are experiences. Notice that I keep saying that. What are the thoughts that you experience? It's not you. So important. I keep saying that because it really, really is an imperative thing to be able to accept for yourself. And it's hard, to be honest. I do have a worksheet to go along with this that helps you further be able to do this process and exercise. So one of the things that I would ask you to do is to write down all the thoughts right now that are distressing you. Write it all down. And then afterwards, try to go through each and every thought and really do the work to try to remove yourself from it. Act as though you're a fly on the wall. Do that visualization if you need to, or do the visualization as though you're talking to a friend or a loved one. Observe the thoughts as a non-judgmental, gentle bystander narrator. You're not anything more than that. You're not any more attached to that thought, to that experience than anyone else. And you might really find that those thoughts are put into perspective. And even if they're not necessarily put into perspective, you can also identify and separate yourself from those thoughts so that when they do become distressing to you, you can realize that you have the power. You have the power to assign whatever power that thought has over you, or to take this power away from the thought. And that is really the main purpose of this exercise, is to make sure that you recognize that you are the one in power, not your thoughts. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever tried an exercise like this and how it worked out for you. You can click my face over here to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you empowerment and non-judgmentalness on your journey to finding your state of balance. And I will see you in my next video.